feel like we're doing everything we can with social emotional health. And I think this just continues with that commitment to that and to our people. And the exciting thing for her, and I'll let her talk a little bit about the program is, and I don't know if you saw the Charger interview that they had with her, but about the fact that she is here to help with relationships and to build a better and positive relationship with the students and with the police force. And it's here as in a sense of a counselor. And so, but she's also ready if we need her, if heaven forbid something terrible would ever happen. So very happy to welcome Taylor, and she's a great fit.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Taser trained, you can show us how to do that with Mr. Starnes?
Not quite.
Exactly.
We are very excited to have you. It's a great addition to our district, so we're really excited for that.
I'm excited to be here.
All right.
And anything you'd like to?
No, you pretty much said.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't have much else.
Yeah, no problem. And you're welcome to stay as long or as short as you'd like or
We're
need
gonna
to.
head out and home to my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy yourself.
Y'all
Thank
have a
you.
good night, though.
Thanks again, Taylor.
All right. All right, then moving on to principal reports, Mr. Oliver.
I don't really have anything to add to my report unless there's any questions you guys might have that I can try to answer. So, good.
Everything's still going all right? We're
Yeah,
several weeks in now.
just one day at a time.
Well-oiled machine over there.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but we're moving along. We're moving forward, and that's what's important. Yeah. Headed towards 1,116 hours.
Yep.
That's what we're trying to do. Got some good news today about the remote learners too. That's going to be very helpful, and especially if we have to go remote soon. So,
Well, good.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Nisley.
Don't have anything to add, but happy to answer any questions you have.
Excel is gonna work out pretty nice.
I think so. I'm just down to the last little troubleshooting thing. I'm talking with their network guys, just a couple ports on the firewall to get open so it can connect to their thing. But
They're gonna work tomorrow night, right? No pressure. But I really need them to work tomorrow.
it's always a possibility.
Are they that close though?
So the installer came out Thursday and Friday last week, and he got all his part done. But then we get, put in a queue for the tech guys back in the office working wherever. They've got a whole backlog of all of the schools that have signed up that they have to, remote into the machine and then do the configuring, stitching the pictures together and getting it ready for a broadcast. And we haven't explicitly heard from them that that part's done and they're just waiting on this one thing. But so I don't know how long that takes them, how far behind they are on their schedule.
Once it's operational, and is it recorded anywhere, or is it just, it's live broadcast and done?
I believe it is recorded locally on the machine also, or it might just be stored as a recording. They're using like Amazon's web service, like Amazon servers in the cloud. So it's probably stored there, but what I've been told is that I think those broadcasts are then available as like an on-demand kind of, if you can't actually watch the game live, it'll be available to go and watch, whenever, if you have the subscription or whatever, then you should be able to go back and rewatch it. And then also I think the footage is then available for coaches if they want to download it and then import it like into their Huddle program for analyzing and statistics tracking and, using for a game film analysis, that kind of thing.
Another great addition. That's exciting to have. So.
It is.
And I guess one small thing, I don't know if I added it in because I wasn't for sure, but thanks to Jaron, talking with the other schools in the league, we and every school in our league that's signing up for this, nobody has to pay for the cameras and nobody has to pay for the installation. We're all getting it like free to start off with these two systems. That it was originally a promotion where they were like, well, just pay we'll give you 2 free systems if you pay the installation fee. And then he somehow got them talked into. He's like, well, if we can get everyone in our league signed up so that we can watch away games and stuff. They're like, well, okay, then if you can get everyone on board, then nobody has to even pay the installation fee. So everyone's getting on board for no cost,
Very nice.
out of pocket up front anyway. So
Awesome.
Great. Okay. Moving on then to the consent agenda. Is there any comment? If not, all that needs a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those opposed, say aye. No one opposed, motion carried 6-0. Okay, then moving on to old and new business. Enrollment numbers.
I wanted to give you an update on the enrollment numbers. It's a little bit different than what was sent out when the packet went out. But just that we've gained some students. And so we gained 3 students and 1 preschooler at Alma Elementary. Well, actually, I should take that back. They were at Maple Hill. That is wrong. It is at Maple Hill. And so I need to change it or minutes. So, just 1 second. So it is at Maple Hill Elementary, and with that, then the head count was down 17 then, but compared to last year, this will have counted the 21st of September, and we'll find out more specifics at that point in time. But with the preschool and the pre-K pilot program and the slots that we have for that, we were down 11 FTE. So that 11 FTE, taking that times the 4569 is 50,259. And down in that particular, the Form 150, the budget, we're down to 205,605. But then we add back in the 2 slots for the preschool, pre-K, preschool, there's 5 at risk, and sped students, that's another 31,000 we get. We get a 36,000 for the 8 FTE preschool kindergarten grants. So then from that 205, it comes to 137,000 and the difference. So that's budgetarily. Then we, as far as some things that talk about, and I guess could talk about those and some specifics about those particular things. How then are we going to make that up? And here's some things that were sent out. The first one would be to spend less, but even with the budget loss, we had 329,294 in our budgets, more than we had last year. We got 466,364 in the difference in our total budgets. It was increased 6.7% of where we were total with everything compared to where we were last year. And that amount is $466,000 difference. When you take out the 146 for salaries, if that would be the choice with the 3%, then it goes down to 329,000 that we still have. Some other things within the budget, some areas within the budget we don't have, won't have a 3% increase. For example, the Leader and Me dropped by $4,600 in our enrollment for that piece. And not everything, basically everything in that budget was increased by at least 3%. Everything. And so not all those things will increase 3%. The other, I'm sorry. Okay. Some other areas within the budget, food service increase in revenue, the free program, the USDA free meal program. We get that in the summer rate, and thank goodness we had done that when the COVID situation was closed. And so then for us to do that, then we can apply and go ahead with the USDA free meal program, and that has a higher rate of reimbursement than what we're regularly reimbursed. We're reimbursed at $2.65 a meal regularly, and it has a higher rate, closer to $3, I believe, for that. So we're going to see an increase in that. We also had an increase, just speaking of that, from those free meals. We've had 100 more breakfasts than we typically have served, and about 18 more of the lunches than we've served due to the free offering. And that will be through the end of December. The other things that we would do or could do, we would continue to push like we've done in the past, year-end budget renewals and memberships to next year's budget, which we did this past year and have done in the past when we've had budget issues. You could reduce the transfers and the transfers in the general fund and the supplemental general. Those transfers then go into funds that then aren't or don't have the ability to have revenue and to be able to run those programs. So we increased this year in revenues from transfers 78,515. Last year it was a 1.1% increase in transfers, and then specifically we could reduce the capital outlay transfer from the general fund, which is 138,000, which would then make up the difference for loss in our budget and still be able to take care of then the increased proposal that was in the agenda. That would then, we did have in capital outlay a slated ending balance of 348,000, but our ending balance now would be 210,095. It's still higher than our ending balance was 2 years ago. That was 194,000. So we're still above that. So we're still making, so in other words, you spend your savings to help then be able to do that. And then the question is, well, what are we going to do about a bus? The 70,000 of the bus is still included in that. And if we didn't purchase it, then it'd be 280,000. Then the long-term effects, less ending balances in your savings, would continue. So with that long-term piece, we continue to need to look at reduction in cost, whether that's buildings, closing buildings, the possibility with the bond and what that would do in helping us, again, custodial outsourcing, having trouble filling positions, and they can save us money. And with some of the things that with the COVID and the high stakes and other things, then energy performance contracts as well. And so I know I keep bringing this up every time about budget stuff, but just want to keep that out there in the forefront about things we need to continue moving forward with. But the energy performance contract, where then we can get a need met with guaranteed savings, which is being Leader Me language, a win-win, as long as the contract doesn't exceed the life of those type of. So we're not going to be stretching it out 20 years, because then you're paying all that for the time that you're going to have equipment. And so a 12-year type of plan, 15-year. Then the other thing is the long-term effect. Next year we may not have as much base aid per pupil. We're supposed to receive that much according to the, and have increases per the Supreme Court decision, but the state may say revenues are down, we're not gonna do that. And so that's a big piece of that. And then one thing too, long-term, hopefully, with our enrollment, we'll go back to normal numbers after COVID. Those students that we lost FTE, those homeschool students, I think will come back. Some will not, but of the original 20 that we had lost due to mostly homeschooling scenarios, we feel like that 15 of them will probably come back. So all those things are things that I just want to share with the enrollment numbers and give you more information as far as what's been happening.
Any other questions or comments about that?
It seems with how much funding we are getting, I mean, the benefit, I guess, it's a sour to say, but the benefit of having COVID hit and getting that extra funding is helping us where we may be in a much different situation next year if that funding isn't continued.
Well,
Yeah.
and savings from the spring, transportation.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And with that, we did get approved today. In fact, the letter was signed for our reimbursement for our $209,000 from the county federal Sparks money that we did get approved. So that is official. And it sounds as if there will be another round of those Sparks monies coming available. And with some of those things, that then what we can plan to do with some of the, if it be the air plasma scrubbers that we continue to work forward with some of that. That's about 70 grand for that for the district. And some of those type of things continue to anything COVID related. And it may allow us to allow personnel to be included in it so that maybe we can then look at something with personnel, be a school nurse scenario, COVID emergency management person that's a school nurse, all those kind of things. We planned it, but we couldn't do it because they said we couldn't do personnel. So, yeah, exactly. Yes, Josh?
Can you check Zoom and see if Galen's waiting to get in?
Oh,
He's been texting me.
oh. Well, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know, yeah. He's waiting. Sorry about that, Galen.
On the, as far as the budget goes and the energy contract, I mean, that is, when will they be back to present to us?
I am not sure when that investment grade audit is completed.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I can find out.
And through that investment grade audit and the money we have through Sparks that could do the scrubbers,
Correct.
that could be a part of that. I mean, could it all be kind of combined together to help produce some of the equipment?
It can.
Or would it be better to use Sparks money for something else and buy the scrubbers under our energy performance contract?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying,
Yeah.
surely we can partner with them, and they've been a part of programs like this before, where maybe we would not have to use our money to do some of those things if they are gonna help us out in other areas.
Yeah.
So you might work with them on that?
Yep. Good idea.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, not, we'll move on then. Next is, the bond.
Okay. And I don't know, with Mrs. Hubley, I don't know if you had anything or
Oh,
else with your report.
to go back to your report.
I don't have anything to add to
Okay,
my
sorry.
report unless you have any questions.
I'm sorry, I'll ask, Galen, do you have anything else to add to your report?
No, I don't have anything else. If there's any questions.
So
Great.
Things are going well. Seems like week, 4?
This is week 4. Yep.
Okay. All right, then moving on to the bond.
And we've got Maria from HTK and Elizabeth as well on with us on the Zoom portion of it. So welcome, ladies. And they you can see the updated information that had just been sent out this afternoon. And so we can look to get that in the paper and do some of that. The question of, can we do that? Yes, you can do that because of the fact that you're providing information. It doesn't say vote yes or anything, it just says vote. And so anything like that, any other type of things, you may have seen some signage around town already with yes. Those yes vote things were purchased outside of district money. And so that is also with the yes committee or the vote committee or whatever name we officially have for that, and their Facebook page as well. So we'll start getting this information out. But I think that the other thing I wanted to let you know of is that we had 30 people that I sent out about the Vote Yes Committee. We had 9 that got back, and 6 of them were positive and wanted to help. So those we could continue to lean on to be able to do it. But they've also provided for us the numbers of registered voters, which is 2566. And we need then 895 yes votes, because we typically have about 70% of our registered voters turn out for elections, which is very high. So we would need 895 yes votes to be able to have that pass. There was a question too about, if we could change anything or do anything, or with COVID and time, everything else, and contacted the county, and we could not. They had to print the federal ballots. It wasn't printed yet, but they had to get the information out. And so we couldn't change anything within the bond at this point in time. The other things really need from you all is what we would like to do as far as trying to get in front of community groups. I know, like the chamber, we're not meeting. And so it's hard to do those things. So would be the idea again of would we want to host instead of 1 or 2 town halls, 3 or 4, or the thought process on that prior to try to get one here in September yet, and 2 to 3 in October, or what would be the thought process?
Well, I think with social distancing, you're gonna have to have more than 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Throughout our towns, would say if we had one in Maple Hill, one in Paxton, one in Alma, that would at least be 3.
Yeah.
That's basically 1 every other week between now and election, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be time then, if that is what we're going to do, it would be time then to get those scheduled.
Yeah.
So, right?
You think about leaving the gyms, when there's no big
Yeah, or, I mean, even as nice as the weather is right now, up front, you could hold them at the football field. I mean, you could do it at the practice field at Paxico. You could do it at the football field up here at Alma. And you could do it at the baseball fields in Maple Hill, at the park, I mean, if weather permitting, obviously.
And I think gyms would probably be a good,
And if not, then we can move to a gym. That'd get us outside.
agreed.
But I think those are gonna have to happen. So, I mean, we've been talking about them, so now it's time to get them scheduled, get them done, so. Would those be, actual board meetings then, the way the last town hall was that we held in Alma,
They would be if we had 4 or more.
of us there?
Mhm.
Is that how we would like to hold them?
I don't know, do we want all, I mean,
And if there was a couple board members and one or 2 of the 6 that had reached out and said yes,
Mhm.
and, we divided them up a little bit and spread out, maybe we could. I mean, it doesn't bother me if they're board meetings, I'm just saying, wouldn't have to, we could have a couple board members and that wanted to participate.
I think it'd be good, all the board members to make it, just to show unity.
So then we have to schedule them and make them actual board meetings. So,
I mean, I'm not really opposed to that either one, so.
do you have a suggestion or an idea of how you'd like to see it happen? Want us to proceed?
Yeah, I am okay in whatever, if you want to split it up, or if you want the same people presented at each one, and you want to have everybody there to be in a show of unity, or whatever that may be. Or say that you guys present this night, you two, whatever, however you want to do that, or just say, okay, we're gonna have one spokesperson that's gonna do it, and I'm gonna be available out in the crowd to answer questions, type of scenario. I think there's several ways to do it. I think it is important that the board is the one, and then the committee members being there to do that, like we've done at the other town hall piece. And then I'd be available to help with any questions or any of those type of things, getting out this information to everybody and having that out there. And this is pretty concise. Thanks, Maria, by the way. It's concise and it's pretty easy to read, and doesn't get too deep in the weeds about some of the stuff. And then if people want more in the weeds, we can provide more of those type of things. So, I'm sorry, Maria, or Elizabeth, you broke up.
Sorry, I'm just gonna add that document is just a draft, and so we encourage the board and administration to take a close look, and anything can easily be changed.
I like both of these. I think they have a lot of useful information. One thing I thought might be helpful, just from kind of discussing with different members of the community, is I think that it might be beneficial to have something like this in terms of kind of discussing specifically situation, like the challenge that we have, or the challenge is, I guess, with the operating budget, with the condition of the buildings and costs associated with those.
Yeah, the whys.
Yeah, kind of discussing why the bond is needed in the first place. I think it's important for individuals to get a full understanding of, the maintenance costs that we run up against every year, and the existing conditions that we have that are gonna have to be addressed, whether it's a bond or no bond.
Well, and I've also gotten some questions from different community members, they don't even remember what was proposed. So I think we need to be able to get out what that is gonna look like. Yeah, unfortunately. And so I think even just somewhere having the plans, the draft plans available so that they can also have a visual again of what that will look like would be helpful.
One thing I would refer to too is on the website, there is that continued information that have the initial plan. And so that'd be an area, if you have anybody to ask or whatever, we can for sure print more of those out and those kind of things, but. That's a valid point. Yeah, and think with Lori at the newspaper to.
Right, I think that would be a good thing, would be the newspaper also, because that would get people that don't hit Facebook and aren't gonna get on the website. Did we run anything in the smoke signal before or not?
I don't believe so.
No, just a signal.
Because that one touches almost everybody, whereas the Signal Enterprise, you have to subscribe to. So I didn't know what the cost would be on that or not, but that might be an idea too. It hits Pot and Muncie County. So I'm just thinking we're gonna need to get in front of people who don't use internet and don't have the social media too.
Would it be smart to go back to the 3 stages that you had run in the paper to begin with, where we went, where we were, where we're at, where we're going? That was like a 3-week.
Right.
editorial about our school district,
Sure.
how we got into the shape we're in, what we're doing about it now, and what we plan to do in the future.
Mhm.
We have 7 weeks, actually 6 weeks, because the paper won't come out before the election on the 7th week, but you have 6 weeks, not including this week. You could do 3 weeks of that, 3 weeks of the option, what our high school would look like, what our middle school would look like, junior high, and then what it would look like in Paxco. I mean, there's your 6 weeks.
Mhm.
But that would keep it, that consistency in the paper would also keep it in the forefront of people's minds too. So it's not just 1 week and then it's,
Correct.
so I like that idea.
And we have something going in the paper every week from here to there that is all informational based on what we've talked about prior. Then our board meetings every other week, we would have to hit that entire topic at every location.
Just the smoke signal does not go to Maple Hill.
It doesn't.
Or those in
It just does
the
Paxco.
vicinity, even rural Maple Hill.
Okay.
They don't get it.
No go in Maple Hill.
No,
But we get in
well, I'm just-
Paxco and-
I'm
yeah.
not saying don't use it, I'm just throwing that out there that none of us over there get it.
That's a good call.
I mean, it's another option. We've gone over this before too,
Yeah.
about it. We publish that our form of communication is through the Signal Enterprise.
Right.
If you need to read something about our school, you need to get on the Signal Enterprise. I hope that the people that we would reach through the Signal would be the people we don't reach online, and the people that aren't getting the Signal are the people we would reach online, or at least the majority.
Right.
But it's to keep our exposure costs down. I mean, I'm sure the smoke signal's not cheap either. I mean, when you're doing double dip on both
Yeah.
sides, so.
Yeah, and just as you said, our official recognized in July when we have to adopt and say this is the official paper for us is the Wabunsee County, so,
Okay.
Um,
Can we do an email from the district that says, here we are again, we're back? I mean, I don't know what it would say, but that would outline the bond option, why, and the multiple points, just to get it back out in front. I just think we just need to get it back out in front of people's minds as much as possible, even if we're repetitive in our
so
efforts.
it's the school reach.
Yes.
The school reach program is a text and references the website that has detailed information. And I was thinking about the charger, if there was anything that,
Mhm.
that they do some,
they did.
Yeah.
so.
I mean, I know this is all pretty repetitive, but from the feedback from the community, it's been, what was that again? What were the
What we
options?
try to do.
What were we, yeah, and so, I mean, but I mean, I understand that, we've all been preoccupied for 6 months with COVID and all that went with that, so. We just gotta hit it hard again.
It's going to be important to break it down to what it means to the individual.
Yes,
This is important to, down here, the home value,
Yeah.
but it doesn't say anything about businesses and it doesn't say anything about agriculture.
Sure.
Those are gonna be the people that are gonna help us pay the bills on this, so I believe that, and I know this was just a rough draft, so
Right.
something that I guess I would like to see changed on here is for our business community and for our agriculture community, they need to know what it's gonna cost them as well to help them make an informed decision.
On the form, it says it will be decided by a walk-in election, so will the question not be in mail ballots?
It'll be on the
It'll
ballot.
be a vote.
Yeah.
We're having a walk-in as well as,
Yeah.
I think you have to request a mail-in ballot though, right?
Yeah, and I don't know, Wabunsee County's advanced mailing or advanced voting would be a case where you can request, for the mail-in piece. Or an absentee
Yeah.
is a better idea.
So would we maybe wanna not say walk-in, decided by
I guess
the election on.
what I was going to suggest on these, of course, we could sit here and edit it, but if we all went home and went through this and submitted our changes to Mr. Storms,
Mhm.
Yep.
then he could get with HDK and give us a more so a final draft. There is money in that football on tonight. I know it. I won't make it to the last game though.
We just
In the junior high.
So, okay, so then I believe if we reach out and we start a program like that through the newspapers, where we've been, where we're at, where we're going, and then what our plan, I believe we can spend more time detailing down week to week versus saying, here's our plan, and then being idle for 2 weeks. If we break down the plan into 3 segments, I'm not saying it has to, what those segments need to be, but if we can break down our plan into 3 segments and be more detailed about those 3 segments, we'll get more out of each week. Even if we broke it down into 2 and the last week was a summary.
Mhm.
So here's the grand scheme of things on your last week prior to voting. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's on, I'm gonna try that.
So if that's the route that we're going to go, then the next is we need to have a minimum of 3, we need to schedule a minimum of 3 meetings over the next 7 weeks. And I know Kelly's online, I don't know if Dawn is.
He is not.
Okay, so I guess I very much,
Can you hear me?
yes,
Oh, there is. Oh, sorry?
that's Kelly.
Oh, that's from the game. I was
Oh.
like,
We're live
Your voice
streaming,
got-
live streaming the
your
game.
voice, yeah, your voice changed, Kelly.
Yeah, I know, sorry. Happy days. No, I agree, yes, we should, just real quick, that we should, have some town hall meetings, and I think they should be consistent messages, and I think it would be best for us to all be there. I couldn't hear everything everybody said. If people are available on those evenings, to be able to at least have, a message out to the communities and be able to have several of us there to answer questions.
So I was getting to the point to say it'd be nice to, I don't know if we could, over the next week, before next Monday, if we could get some of those scheduled. I mean, I would schedule them tonight, but I don't know what Dawn's schedule is, and I would like us all to have input on the scheduling dates. So if we could pick 3 dates over the next 7 weeks, that we would have a Maple Hill, Paxico, and Alma town hall meeting regarding the bond, get those dates set and email between now and next Monday, this coming Monday, I guess, a week from today, then that would give HDK time to get this finalized, our brochures finalized. And probably the board members an opportunity to brush up on the plan as well to make sure that you're fully practiced.
What's the notification timeframe we have to have for board meetings?
special one, 2 to 3 days, and or you can sign a waiver if you have to have something.
So we could do a town hall.
We could do one tomorrow if we wanted to.
Right.
We just have to sign a waiver
Correct.
of the notification act. So, but, I mean, we are in a time crunch, but I don't think we need to rush quite that heavy. Let's get some input from Kelly and Dawn on what their timeframes could be. Well, through email, we should be able to get that handled over the next week.
Yeah, let's see, I can also create one of those sign up genius, what days work for you all. And, but what day is more than Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Not Tuesday.
Not Tuesday,
Not Tuesday.
On Monday.
not Monday.
Wednesdays, and you'll have religion, but the kids won't need to be there.
Wednesday or Thursdays? I don't know what,
Thursday's junior high.
oh, that's right, Thursday's junior.
And Friday's high school.
So
So you're gonna
Wednesdays,
have Saturday mornings, or you're gonna have Wednesday evenings.
Wednesdays, I guess. Cause Saturday we got volleyball for the next month, so.
We're gonna get pushed back on Wednesday evenings. I have,
For the adults.
we're supposed to leave that open. We always have.
On dates.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Focus on dates.
Whoa.
Come again?
Okay, sorry, if I can add something quickly on dates. I believe mail-in ballots will go out the 20th for advanced voting, so it'd be nice if we could have one the night before on the 19th.
October 20th, so that's a Monday.
October 19th, Liz, is what you're saying?
Yes. I believe mail-in ballots will go out the 20th, and some counties are giving everybody the opportunity to vote mail-in. I'm not sure about Uvalde, but there might be a lot of mail-in ballots out there.
The Sunday afternoon, another question.
Those what?
The Sunday afternoon, another question.
I wonder on that, I mean, I'm not saying it's out of the question, I just wonder if you don't, but we're gonna have 3 of them, and just because we hold one in Maple Hill doesn't mean someone from Alma can't be there, or vice versa. So if you hold one on Monday, and I know that's volleyball night, but if you hold one on Thursday, that's junior high football night, but they can come to the Monday meeting, they can come to the Thursday meeting, they can come to a Sunday meeting. I mean, I think that the breakfasts at their church, I think, are a good opportunity for people to hit up without it being a meeting. I mean, there's a couple people at your church, there's the coffee shop, those types of things I believe can be held on Sundays and Saturdays. If you're gonna hold a formal board meeting, I believe you probably ought to try and do that in the evening during the week, personally. So we're going to overlap something at some point in time. I believe if you try and hold one on a Monday, if you want Monday the 19th, then we'll lock that in and see if we can't get everybody to do it. I think that's a great point, so. I believe we need to have one week on a Monday, then the next week could be on a Wednesday, and the next week could be on a Thursday.
So if we did the 19th, then would you wanna look at like the 7th or the 8th?
Right,
Okay, and then,
and
next week then?
You could have something that, the week of the 28th, the week of the 8th and the 9th, the week of the 19th, and see where we're at. You could always schedule something as a wrap-up session the week before the election too.
Right. And I think we also wanted with the Vote Yes Committee, I mean, we wanna make sure that we're all on the same page too, so for the, whatever we're giving out and whatever they're giving out, and,
I think they would take any information
I
that we
think
have
so, too.
available to give them, so.
yeah,
I think that's it from
yeah,
what I've heard from.
So.
and, yeah.
So Brad, you'll set up an email or what dates work for you? Is that something?
Sign Up Genius.
Sign Up Genius?
Yeah, I can, but right now, the way we're looking is the 30th of September, which is a Wednesday, correct?
Okay,
Then, October, the next week,
8th.
8th,
Mhm.
Junior high volleyball and football at Riley County on that, but October 8th, which is a Thursday. Then October 19th, which is the Monday.
Mhm.
So,
And I think we could be upfront and just say, we understand that there's gonna be overlap with sports, but that's why we're offering different days, so that we're not overlapping all the time. I mean,
And is there a particular order you would like to go in? The first one being,
Maple Hill.
okay, so Maple Hill on
Practice, what is that?
October, I'm sorry, would be September 30th.
September 30th, Maple Hill, October 8th, Paxico, October 19th, Alma.
And then we said that September 30th. At Maple Hill. Okay? And I will then see about getting those published and getting that out there in the paper and continue to have that run. And
I like those dates, but if you don't, can you send them out to Dawn and Kelly?
Sure,
The whole board,
sure.
just make sure, I mean,
right,
let everybody digest that
right,
for a little bit. Before we write it and stuff.
You also have the opportunity to stream the meetings.
Stream them.
Josh, you can handle that, right?
Oh, shoot,
It's
man.
like every
Can
night
you put
I'm
us on
streaming.
Pixella?
No, I don't think it works that way.
Not when we're
You don't
outside.
do other things at night, do you?
Oh, we can.
Yeah, the football
What's that?
You don't do other things at night, do you?
No, of course
No.
not. I'm
Anything else to do?
totally available
Okay.
all the time.
Back and call.
24 hours, 7 days a week.
I know.
Yeah.
He's like streaming this game and that game and this
So if
thing.
you, yeah, let's just organize that in an email and make sure everybody has a chance to digest those dates. See if there's any major conflicts, and then we can publish and get them set in stone.
there.
Reiterate why the 19th would be important, so everybody knows, because Dawn's not gonna know.
Yeah.
Why that particular one was picked, the other one was kind of out there.
Perfect.
Okay.
Chiefs on running their football and everything.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Did our Chiefs playing this year? So then, I believe as board members, then we need to go through this.
Yeah.
The brochure and make sure if you see or desire any changes, that those get changes and added. I would say by next Monday as well, if we can do that. That way they have time to change them and get them reprinted and get them out to us, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments, suggestions around that? Do we need to check with her and see if she has anything she would like to add to us before we move on from the bond?
Liz, Maria, anything else that you think we need to be aware of or words of wisdom?
I always have words of wisdom.
Yeah, I shouldn't have asked.
I might, right?
Right,
How long is this meeting?
yeah.
We're gonna need a strong, kind of social media campaign for this, which I think we can do, and I think that we can kind of work both sides so that the district can have that campaign and then the guest group can as well. And so we'll sit down with that group and kind of give them some pointers on what that looks like and things that we've seen work in the past. Because in these kind of different times, there's going to be more online and just kind of figuring out who the voters are and making sure that they're the ones that understand the bond and why we're having it. So I just want to let you guys know that we'll be there to help with that.
Okay. We need to help get them in contact with them. I can help get them in contact.
Yeah, and Sam, I know, has components indicated that she'd help us.
Okay.
Continue, that's her job, what she does, so she'd be great.
Okay.
Get in contact with.
Great, thank you.
I'll say one more thing about the PDF that we sent out. You should have gotten two of them. One is set up as a board that you can put up in the school, or you can have it at football games or different sports events like that. The other one is meant to be a flyer that you can mail out. So it's set up to be an 11 by 17, print on both sides. So on the first page of the PDF, the information on the left side is actually for the back. That makes sense. So the vote, the big red vote, is the front of it. Oh, thank you, Mr.
a visual aid. So back, front, then you'll open it up, see it.
Perfect.
And one other thing on the businesses and the agriculture, one reason why we don't typically put that on there, the specific numbers, is because it's so, it can be complicated, and so it really needs to be specific, that, the finance council has a calculator that we put on your website, and so we encourage people to go onto the website and use that calculator and set it up to see how it directly affects them.
Sure. Which I think is great for those that will go out and actually do that. I feel like with such a ag-based community here, if we are not able to talk at least approximates with our ag-based community, they will be an automatic no. If we say, I'm not real sure, they're not gonna vote for it. So, and we will lose this election with that. So we're going to have some way of getting close to do it. So if whatever their calculator puts out, maybe we need to have something.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
Yeah, we can add something on there, and then also you have, plan on from the finance council at this meeting. He's done it before where he's brought computers and helped people with those formulas as well.
That would be helpful.
okay,
Justin from Piper.
gotcha. Great. That might be nice to have him at our 3 meetings then.
That's what I should have signed, right?
Yep.
Should have signed.
He's a good addition to meetings. He explains things well and simplifies it for people. When you start talking about milk pays and bonded interest, it gets complicated to some who are in that world. And so he makes it easier to understand.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay,
I'll contact him with the dates to, get everything squared away.
good. Anything else then on that topic? We move on. Thank you guys for being a part of the meeting, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, then moving on is approved fundraisers, the weight room fee structure, discussion item, possible action item in October.
Just, Coach Garrett Eck is available this evening, JV football, and he's got the proposal that was included in the board packet. And just, that's a discussion piece, and we can have him available in October to talk to us more about that, and his structure fee, and how that works. But the rest of the fundraisers are on our, board responsibility calendar to get approved, and so would ask that those be approved. And then if there's anything else that you'd like discussed, or if you have questions for him, or based upon the, information in your packet, let me know or let him know directly what your questions are, so that he's ready to answer.
I guess knee-jerk, I'm wondering, are we thinking that we're getting close to a point where we're gonna wanna open those back up to the public?
I don't think so.
So, I guess then I'm questioning why we would even open up that can of worms in today's environment if we're not even close to ready to open up our facilities anyways. Maybe, not that I don't wanna have a discussion, I think it's a great opportunity to have a discussion, but the risk for the district and is not even close to worth the reward, right?
Right.
That was,
You have a question?
I don't know. Your motivation seems suspect here.
Tell me more.
It seems like if we start discussing it, it becomes an issue that hurts your yes votes. Is that not what you're thinking?
If you, you want them to come in, you want to open up the
No,
facilities, is
we
that,
discuss charging more for it.
oh, well, we can talk about all the prices we want, I just didn't give it free, but. I just don't know, I mean, that was my only thoughts was, I don't wanna give the wrong perception to the community that, hey, the board and or the district is ready to open up our facilities to a group of people with an increased or decreased or no fee or more fees or whatever fees, because we're not there, so I just didn't wanna get communications crossed.
We're not allowing other organizations to come into our schools, and I don't know why we would allow people to come in and use the weight room,
Yeah.
so,
So, and that's on you guys, so.
Yeah, the reopening plan, we haven't,
yeah.
so, and what was approved. So, no, I mean, I can let him know that it's on hold.
Just table it till we know.
Yeah.
I think the project is worth a discussion, I just don't know if October is even the time to do that with, the way our schedules are gonna be going here. Past bond, I'll be surprised if we don't, if we may have it closed for another year, who knows?
Yeah.
Let's have that conversation when the conversation is more pertinent. Is that acceptable? Are there any questions then or discussion around the fundraisers? If none, then that is an action item, so to approve those, I just need a motion.
I approve to accept the fundraisers as,
Tony and Jim. It's been moved and seconded to approve the fundraisers as submitted. All those opposed, say aye. Hearing none, motion carried, 6-0. All right, budget discussion.
Just want to, we've already gone through a lot of that information and just continue to put that out there. That, we need to continue to be looking at things long-term and how we're going to address things. And hopefully through some of the information shared, it will help with some of those discussions and what we're doing it's long-term. So keep it out there.
Yep. Of course, I know we did have a discussion around custodial outsourcing at one point in time. And the board wasn't comfortable with moving forward with that project at that time, right? I think that it continues to come up on here and maybe we just want to put that to bed and say it's never going to be something we're interested in, or we need to work on answering some of the questions that we had or concerns that we had about those. So I wasn't at that meeting. But I guess I'm going to, my job over the next month, before the next month meeting, is I'm gonna send you a couple emails about what my concerns are with custodial outsourcing. And then maybe we'll get some information back on the investment grade audit that will help us make some decisions on that. And we can maybe put both of those within once and for all. I mean, I know we all had a little bit of concern around custodial outsourcing, but we had a janitor hired and didn't even make our approval list before they moved on and did something else. So in today's environment, that's an area that we cannot lack in. And it seems as though we need help. Yes, sir.
You weren't here. I voted to move forward with the solid plan that was presented. So to say that we were all had concerns with the outsourcing is inaccurate.
Okay.
The concerns with the outsourcing would be, how soon can we start? For me, because it was going to be a real solution. We're going to be providing somebody to manage the people. I'm not sure that exists right now. This was a good solution, a good option. They got voted down.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I wish you had been there to hear it.
I can agree with you, which is why I'm kind of bringing it back full circle again. I think it's something that we need to reconsider as a board. I think that if you do have concerns about the way it was presented or the questions that didn't get answered, I believe that those need to be funneled towards Brad. So either they can get answered and addressed, or they don't get answered and addressed, and you have a good suspicion, your gut feeling's right. I wasn't at that meeting, but I was very much in favor of the custodial outsourcing, and still am. Mainly for probably budgetary reasons, but all the rest of the reasons that come along with it, with management and so on and so forth. So I believe that's something the board needs to reconsider. So if you could do the board a favor and submit your concerns to Brad prior to the next meeting, if you have those, and maybe you can send that back out to us, Brad. Would you have the numbers may not be the same because times have changed.
I think, well, just part of the concern, I think, that at least I had related to the outsourcing was, one, are we gonna be able to retain the existing individuals that we currently have? And if we can't retain those individuals, are they coming, or are we basically not, are we cutting ourselves short in terms of our custodial staff? Are individuals having to come from Topeka, Manhattan, who don't have a investment in the school in any form of sense, and have the school potentially suffer for that?
Yeah.
So that's part of the concern. The other part is the cost increase didn't make a lot of sense to me in terms of, we talked about it at the meeting, but basically we could essentially just cut our losses in terms of our total cost increase by setting one individual to part-time instead of full-time. And that would essentially, we're doing the same thing in terms of saving ourselves costs by going through it, outsourcing as in-house. So the cost didn't make a lot of sense in my mind in that respect, but Sean can talk more about.
Well, you're saying, let's say we've got the cost, if that's even followed up on, we don't even seem to care about that. But you're getting the same result. That's not accurate. You have a dedicated manager who's making sure the work's getting done. You're not in the building day to day, so you just believe the work's getting done. But I'm not sure it always is in every location. I think if you talk to some of the teachers, there'd be some concern that it's not, that isn't being done the way it should be done in some locations. And I believe the company that's here would address that better than we can address it right now. It would be the same cost or less.
Who do we currently use to train our custodial staff as to what needs done?
Our own custodians, and then we bring in 4 states, the chemical provider.
Yeah. And they tell them what to
Right.
use in order to clean, but a professional cleaning service, in my personal opinion, would be able to come in and say, this is what needs done. And then 4 states can say, well, here's what you need to use to do that, and they may help. I'm sure a company like that works with them. My point is, though, is if one area of the building always gets missed by one custodian, and we bring another one in and that custodian trains the next one, then that area of the building still gets missed, or that portion of the cleaning process still gets missed, because they don't know what they don't know. I'm not, no disrespect to any of our custodial staff, but we've never had a professional cleaning service come in and say, this is how you do it, this is when you do it, this is why you do it. And no different than our SRO being part of our Leader in Me program. Me personally, as a member of the board, even though they have a different company managing these folks, I would want them at our meetings for Leader in Me programs to bring them and have a little more buy-in to our district, right? I believe that they will probably pull employees out of Manhattan and Topeka. I have no doubt about that, actually. They may use temp services to help do that, which, like you say, the investment drops. However, those individuals are on the hook to get it done, whether or not that person shows up that day or not. Hey, your temp service didn't show up today. We need this done. When's your guy gonna be here? We'll be here in an hour. So maybe they're an hour late that day, but it still gets covered. I guess my concern is the revolving door that we have in the custodial area. And if that company can help hire and keep people employed, whether it's the same person every week or not, is probably, that's a little bit of a concern, right? If we're gonna have 3 weeks and 3 different people out here to clean one building, is it getting done right? But that's their professional job every day. Our professional job every day is to run a school in a manner that we can teach kids. probably not learning how to handle COVID-related issues as far as cleaning and sanitization goes. However, we're 4 weeks in and we're doing a fantastic job, so kudos to that staff for covering what they need. But I'm with Jerome, whether or not we save money or not, I believe it's a better step in the right direction for our district because of consistent supply of people to do the job.
It sounds like more of a management issue. If I'm just being blunt, it sounds like the management issue of custodial work seems to be a problem for us. So, I mean, for that respect, I mean, I was not aware, Jerome, that there were issues that you mentioned, and that's kind of surprised me that it's the first time I've heard that, and it's unfortunate we have that kind of, I guess, management problem.
I'm understanding the management and lack of schedule. We have custodians that don't have a schedule. I'm hearing of cleaning bathrooms in the middle of lunch. That's not called for. But that's a management issue. We have people on staff to manage. That's my biggest issue with this. And with the numbers, we're not adding up to me because we had our quote-unquote manager, from what I understand, in the numbers, but he wasn't in the numbers. It's just how it worked for that company.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that the issue is there was some confusion wrapped around who was getting paid from where, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And who is currently managing those employees, and if they are no longer managing those employees, what role do they play within our district, and how do we make sure, is that individual already way past fully employed and we hire them to come in and manage people, and now that person is just at fully employed, or are they going to be underemployed by making this decision? And so that's all important. I don't want any more of those issues plopping on our principals, on our building administrators, and on our teachers, because from what I hear, they are taxed getting everything else accomplished. And it's not fair for us to put those resources trying to help pick up the slack in other areas is my push. So I think if we can clear up some of these confusion and these gray areas that you brought up, I think is important. We can bring this full circle and we can keep having the discussion because it's going to be important.
I also heard about mop bucket. Are we short on sanitizer or cleaning? I'm being told that a mop bucket can't be renewed because they were told they don't have enough. This was coming from staff, not janitorial. This was coming from staff telling me this, that they were told the mop bucket could not be renewed because we didn't have enough cleaning supplies. So they're using the same mop bucket all day. There's things like that going on. That is management. That is a management issue. And like I said, they don't have any sort of just schedule. I mean, what's the end there? What's the end in mind there? If we don't have a schedule for these people, yeah. So we're hiring this company, so we have a manager, that's it. We have one, I thought, of some sort. Just, that's where I'm at on it.
I can see the benefit, I think, in my mind, especially in being a larger school, of maintaining that oversight and using that to really provide as a benefit. If you have a large structure that you're trying to oversee, but I don't know, does Mission Valley or other small schools, or schools similar size to us, do they engage typically in custodial sources, or do most of them try to hire local, manage their own custodial?
Manage your own local.
So I'm wondering, if they can do that, why can't we replicate it to an extent? I mean, of course, it's like hiring has been an issue for us, but I don't think we're unique to that problem. I think every school has problems with custodial.
We're probably unique in that area because of this, because we have 5 buildings spread across 3 towns and they're 18
That's a whole
miles
different,
apart.
that's a whole different conversation.
And those other schools, though, that you're talking about that do manage it locally do not have that issue.
Right, but that's a different conversation that we're going to work on addressing.
We are, but that is also, we also have to plan for the now, which is why I'm saying, I think you hit the nail on the head. Why can't we do it if every other school is doing it? And I believe we can't do it effectively because we are spread out. We don't have the budget to maintain competitive wage structure the way they do. The way you outsource that, they have the ability, they're a private industry now, so they have profitability that they can afford to pay people more money than we can to come and do the same job. So that's my point, is why are we, this is a part that we're more inefficient on because we're spread out too far.
I
We have
agree
less
with
budget sources
I
to,
completely agree with
to
the
fight the
structure
problem.
side of it, like, as far as structurally, yes. We need to address the fact that we have 5 locations, and I don't know if there's any other 3A schools out there, 2A schools out there that are 5 locations in different places. We have that problem, that's a challenge that we have to address. But throwing other things to address that one problem, I don't think is the solution. I think we need to address that problem head on, and then that'll solve a lot of the other things that are a result of that.
But that's not our only problem. If we're gonna continue to get in the weeds about this, our other problem, you could say, is turnover. We really struggle with that, and it feels like you might just be ignoring that. You wanna focus on this one thing and vote this down again. I just don't think you're still admitting to the whole problem.
No, I think you're right.
turnover is important.
There's turnover, yes, and I know that we may have that more so than other schools around the area, but it kind of goes back to, in my mind, if you solve the big problem, you start realizing it provides solutions for a lot of the smaller problems that you have. All of a sudden, you have a little bit more income because all of that money you were throwing at these 5 different locations, you have that essential savings. So that's 1 less custodian, or 2 less custodians, depending on that.
It's been said, people come to a job for money, but they don't stay there for that. So if we have an issue around management in an area, that is going to increase turnover in that area, and make the next one that much harder. So I don't know if we're not competitive in our starting wages in that. I have no clue. But, I guess when you take on a contract like that, it buys you time to address the management issues, and it's not like we're locked in for life on a contract like that.
No.
Okay, I don't even know how long the contract period is. But it addresses the here and now.
We could have canceled any time.
Correct.
2 months, cancel.
So it addresses the here and now, the importance of maintaining a cleaner facility, especially going into our winter months, which is why I kind of brought it back up tonight. Honestly, didn't expect it to get this much traction, so kind of glad it did.
You're here. Should have been here last time,
Talking too
an
much.
ally.
Talking too much. But anyway, I mean, my point being is it addresses the here and now, allows us an opportunity to get a management system in place that fixes an immediate need going into probably the worst time frame of the year for us to be not clean and not have people in the right places, right? So after that, if we have a management issue and we have a manager within that we need to work on bringing up to standards and up to par, then we need to address that as well. I don't believe that that's the issue that we're trying to discuss here and now tonight, though. And make sure that the pricing options have not changed.
Okay.
Okay, is that fair?
Yep.
Okay, then next is KSDE gating criteria.
Just wanted to share with, we are, and the board would be involved if we got into these particular, this KSDE chart here shows decisions based upon, and this is not a requirement, it's a recommendation to use. It's from Johnson County, actually, the KSDE approved it. But when we would have on-site, going hybrid, or completely remote, depending upon these scenarios. And then there's things for learning, school activities, spectators, audience, visitor access, which we don't have to worry about that now because we don't have any playgrounds, building gating criteria. So every week, we have to send into the Department of Health and Environment, and we share that with the county, what our absenteeism is. And then if we're above that, which we are at 96% daily, average daily attendance from last year. So if we would have, instead of 96, if we would go to 10 and above building, so if we go from 96 to 86 average daily attendance, we would be in the red area. And then we would have to be talking with you all and the county about, do we then go if the red is all remote? And no playgrounds, no other things, no activities, those kind of things. So just wanted to let you know what's going on with that. Then the county, the 2-week county percent positive case rate, if that increases, there would show those type of things. We've not been in that, nor with the cumulative county incident rate, the number of new cases. So, and or trends, and or the hospitals. And so everything from the county, we're in constant contact with them. And we haven't, but I just wanted to make you aware that this is what KSDE put out as an option to help with our decisions about what we would need to do if we ever got to that.
So these are options, they're not requirements?
They are not.
Okay,
They're just
Okay.
suggestions and just,
a baseline that they think about this.
if you get to this, there's something you probably should consider or talk about. So
Is that the same format that shows the, where you have to do like a percentage of cases in the county? And percentage of active versus?
yes, yep, this community gating criteria, and then the second one piece down here. Yep, it sure is.
Would it be possible to get update every 2 weeks on that, like to the board members? So
Yeah.
they can just kind of see where we're trending, we start going.
We as in the county or we as in the school district?
I mean, it's in the, well, it's county data, but
Yeah.
provided to the school board members, because you said you got it from the county.
Yeah.
No.
You follow.
Which, I'm sorry, talking two different things, I think, because we provide KDHE and the county this information, like absenteeism, but we don't have the 2-week percentage. That would have to come from
But
the
that comes
county.
from the county.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm saying if the county provides that to you, could you forward that to the board members?
We have.
It's on
it.
Facebook,
It's
yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah,
they put it out
It's-
almost
it's public
every week.
knowledge.
Yeah, they have it on the sheriff's
The
department of
sheriff's
the county.
department and Wabunsee County.
I didn't know they had like the rates
Oh,
on those.
Oh, on all the readings, yeah, I thought they did.
I know that they put the,
I know they put the active cases.
yeah, active
Okay.
cases,
Yeah, that's
new,
right,
yeah, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if they put percentages for sure, yeah.
I mean, if that is very pertinent information and helps you make a decision, then I would like to have it, but if it doesn't, and it's just something else for you to do, I'm sure your plate is plenty full anyways. But I don't, that's not for me to say, so.
No, we definitely will try, if things get, we'll definitely try to
If the-
get out there.
If the health department is sending you an email stating something
Right.
that is of a lot of information, you could forward that on, that's easy.
Sure will.
But if you gotta do a bunch of hand calculations, maybe we just leave that up to the county.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concern, or comments around that?
And just FYI, one other thing about it, if we have a scenario where we would have to have let's say a 3rd grade class that would quote be quarantined, and or the fact that then they would have to go remote, because this could be just for a class. And rather than shut down the whole building or the whole district, based upon the tracing and with Wabunsee County, then we can say, okay, this 3rd class, instead of going remote, we will just teach it at the fairgrounds. They have internet hotspot, they go there, and then they're quote quarantined away from everybody versus being quarantined at home. And so hopefully help everybody out in that whole sense of we have parents at work and everything else, all of a sudden, now my kid's gotta be home 10 days, so we'll try, and the one church in town said they'd be willing to help with us too. We're looking at the other possibilities in either quote Paxco and or in Maple Hill if that need to come about with senior center or something. So just FYI, I just wanted you to be aware of that too. So,
I had one question.
Yeah.
About that, related to if they went off-site, would they have to provide their own transportation then to that other location?
well, we would try to take kids there as much as possible. I don't know how that would all work necessarily, but, we try to get them to the spot.
Quarantine bus, huh?
Yeah, the quarantine, that's what I'm feeling like.
Right, you're on quarantine bus.
They'll have to fit in backpacks and, you're right.
Any other concerns or questions about that? All right, if not, we're moving on.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
the tower. It's an action item tonight to take action on selling the tower.
I move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those that opposed, say aye. Motion carried, 6-0.
And I did talk to them about making sure that contract included perpetual free use for us and stuff, so, and there was no issues with that, so I'll get with Tim, county attorney, about that and everything. And just FYI too, I contacted another company, just a flyer came across my desk about we buy towers or sell them or whatever, and sent them all the stuff, took pictures, everything else, didn't hear back from them. And so just FYI, yeah.
You know that thing's gonna blow down as soon as they.
Not our problem.
No, but it's their benefit.
Puts on the contract in half the.
True.
750,000, great.
That's the replacement cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other discussion around that then? None, we'll move on. The Wabunsee shooting team.
Just as a discussion item, just, this is information the information that I included in my notes were from other school superintendent that was a relatively sized district. I put it out on the listserv and got a lot of responses back. A lot of people are doing it. And they've all been very positive about they're involving kids that haven't been involved in other things, and et cetera, et cetera. And just making sure that it isn't taken away from your activities as far as practice times and different things like that. But then there's a lot of things with they frequently ask questions piece on that website, and they've got lots of stuff and lots of information about the particulars. And so as far as from my perspective, what we would be doing is allowing them to use our name only, and that would be the only thing that we would do. Some schools did transportation, some schools had supplementals, and we're not interested in doing that.
So, I guess for board information, I am the lead on that program. I work with the George Lee Miller Memorial, and they are the ones that are funding this activity. I'm also the head coach of that program, and have gone through the 8 hours of training for safe gun handling certification through the clay shooters, and then also student training of that safe program. Every student is required to go through that safe training program, and it's about 4 hours online and 4 hours at the location of on-site training. So they are very safe. Their statistics show that they are the safest high school sporting event, bar none. That includes football, all of the other sporting events. So be a safe program. It does get a lot of kids involved that are not currently involved in something. They don't need any funding. They're going to be fully privately funded. There has to be one coach for every 10 kids, and we've got about 8 coaches signed up already. So that we have enough room for 80 kids, but we actually had a meeting downtown last week on a fall league. The district hasn't approved us yet, so we can't have a fall league. So the quicker we can get approved through the district, the better. And I see it's going to be on the agenda for October. So
But because we talked about it earlier and then we've taken it off. And so because typically what we try to do is have information item first and then discussion or whatever, and then vote on it later versus you just finding out and then trying to vote. But since it was on before, it could be voted on this evening as well.
Is that something you all would be in favor of voting on tonight? Are you guys opposed to it? Do you have concerns about it? Do you have more questions about it that I can answer? The quicker we have the ability to get signed up, the quicker we have the ability to get kids trained through the SAFE program. We would like to do that while it's still warm outside, so we're not doing a bunch of training inside for COVID reasons, for our COVID plan. And technically, we don't have any insurance or anything until you guys approve us using your name. They force us to be tied name-wise to a school, so we cannot move forward at all anymore until that's done. And at the last meeting that we discussed this, I went back and found my notes that I had recorded on that meeting, and we discussed that at when they found a coach, they would represent to us, and we found a coach and we're representing. So is this something you guys would vote on tonight?
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Okay, so if you are willing to approve this, then all I need is a motion.
I move to approve the Wabunsee shooting team as presented.
Your own seconds. It's been moved and seconded to approve the Wabunsee Shooting Club. All those opposed say aye. Hearing none, motion carried 6-0. We appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Do you know where competitions?
All the competitions will be held up at Tuttle Creek Shooting Club. So we don't have to travel for that. If you want to go to state in the spring, you go to state at Wichita. If you do good in state and you qualify, you can go to nationals, which would be moved around throughout the United States. But, huge scholarships even K-State have pulled scholarships for this. So
What are the ages?
freshman through senior at this point.
Okay.
The youngest is seventh
Really wanna
grade.
be
You have to
good.
be in the seventh grade to participate, but the club is only supporting K for freshmen through seniors at this point. Okay. All right, thank you all. Moving on. Reopening plan.
Just that we've moved forward with everything as we had in our plan, and the concerns with staff and not having enough to cover some absences. So I want to give kudos to administration and other people that have had to really step up on some of the absence stuff and been stretched. And so I have concern with some of the mental health of our people and have talked to them at the opening about getting help. And we've got a good mental health program available, and the people take advantage of that opportunity-wise and things. But have some concerns with that, and I really do think that we're doing as much as we can, but they're having to do a lot of things. We're getting stretched, and so just how that's all working. So, but we are following a reopening plan. We're going to discuss again some other things with field trips and some other type of things related to the class. If it's within the class, we're letting kids compete, but yet we won't let class things go. I mean, we're trying to get that all figured out. Right now, it's no field trips. And so, but yet if it's a competition, we're allowing competition. So what's the right thing? So our administration will continue to bang that around on Wednesday and talk more about that. But right now, no field trips. So for the reopening plan. Yep.
And I think I heard a comment at the homecoming. It was like, we're playing football, but we're not having a dance.
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah.
It is. And those things,
But it's hard. I mean,
you're right, Callie, those come up, and those are the questions that we ask ourselves all the time. And control what you can control, but at the same time, not have it to where, in kids' words, it's a prison versus a school experience, and that never changes, right? I mean, that's the same language when I was in high
I
school.
think the county didn't like that because it was going to be held inside, correct, the dance? I guess I don't know the
I can't
specifics.
remember,
I assume it
I know that they just didn't want, didn't think it was appropriate.
I think that if you just ask yourself, what are the, I guess, cost benefits of not having football? And then what are the cost benefits of not having a dance? And I think there's a lot more at stake by not having one as opposed to temporarily not having the other. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't
So
really
it's
have
like
any opinions on that, but.
I tell the kids all the time, it's constantly a risk, benefit, and you say, is it worth the risk to, and sometimes the county makes the decision for me.
Right.
Which in the case of dance, it was highly not recommended, so.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's,
I never had a problem getting 6 foot away at the dances.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, your wife is
Is that what
making
you
us for
have?
social distancing.
And to be honest, if not having a dance now allowed us to have prom,
Oh, yeah, then we need to,
then it would
yeah.
be a good trade.
See, these
So
are
I
all good
try to
points
look
for me
at
to
it
tell
like
people.
that a little bit.
These are good points for me to tell people.
Through all these, it is weird. Some of those, you make a decision and sometimes you don't understand the repercussions of that decision until those events come up and you're like, well, yeah.
And it's important to consider too, that there's a lot of schools not having anything
Yeah.
right now. Zero outside activities.
We're doing a fantastic job, and it
Yeah,
seems like to
that's
me, we
great.
are leading the pack in any local school on what is going on. So
I agree, and I'm so proud.
congratulations to our leadership and to our teachers for making that happen.
I'm so glad we started on time. To me, very intelligent decision by the board. I mean, to me, this is high time. This is we could have started August 1st and it's still, except for everybody being ready.
Yeah.
But I think as far as a good time to start school, this is it.
It's been great. Thank you guys so much for it because it was worth it to open up.
Yeah. We need to get in as much class as we can while it's good.
100%.
Yep. Make it we can.
Okay? Any other comments around that? No, we'll move on. Okay. Event,
The county health department, Jared and Bobby done a great job with AD stuff and how they plan things and work things to ensure that took place, as well as getting people to see, because again, allowing people to see their kids play and do that's so important. But then I included in your information, the Mid-East League information that was out there as well. So you should have had that, this fan experience. That's K-State, forgive me. The fan expectations and procedures, just that we had our administrators and ADs got together and came up with these. So it just isn't us, which is good, because then it's like, well, hang on, well, no, we all agreed to this and this is what we're doing. So I think this has been very good.
Yeah.
Yep. Just FYI.
any other questions or comments around that? Okay. So moving on into personnel.
Yeah, if we wanted to have an executive session for 10 minutes, that would be great.
Okay. I move we go into executive session. To discuss the latest proposal for increasing the base pay rate from the teacher pursuant to the exception from employer-employee negotiations over Kilman. The opening meeting will resume in All right, are you back on? Okay. So I would like to move to approve, the negotiation, as submitted from the teachers,
To include
to include all certified personnel, right?
licensed and classified staff, and so the 3% and.
3% across the board.
Correct,
And that includes, yeah, bus drivers too.
correct.
Yes. So, do I need to read, make a summation of that again? She's got it. You
But
got
I
it?
can get it. I can give it to you.
Okay. All those opposed, say aye. Motion carried. Is Kelly still on?
She was on.
She is on.
Okay,
She was
6-0.
on.
Motion carried 6-0.
Who actually seconded that? I'm sorry.
Tony did.
Thank you very much, and I know that
Thank you.
those guys really appreciate, everybody does. Like I said earlier, people are stretched quite a bit, so this is a great, great thing for them, so thank you.
Okay, moving on to the employment. I would take a motion to approve employment as submitted with the changes made at the beginning of the meeting, if somebody wanted to do that.
Motion to approve employment as submitted.
I will second. All those opposed, say aye. Motion carried 6-0. Superintendent.
Just wanted to let you know that the school mental health liaison, Emily Henderson, she spoke to the Kansas legislator. She was the only school mental health liaison to present, and they asked her to speak to legislators, and then asked her to come back and speak again. So a great thing for our district, and again, I appreciate so much you all's commitment to social emotional health. I think we have something that is really great for our kids, and just, I don't want to continue to emphasize the importance of that, but did a great job with that. Our school district was chosen by Kansas Association of School Boards in their reopening schools edition. They came out and interviewed, and so that will be coming out, and when it does, I'll make sure and get the initial what she wrote, Leah.
Did you have a board member?
Yeah, she did a great job, and it's been out there, and so when that's out there, I'll make sure
What,
you that.
did you have a board member then?
Yeah, Tony,
Tony.
Yes, Tony got to.
Were we the first district or the only district that opened? Like, I was asked that question, and I said, I don't know how to answer.
Yeah, I'm not sure, there may have been some others open a little earlier than us.
Perry Lecompton opened, there was.
Did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
Perry Lecompton, I know for sure, it's just one through,
We were.
anyway, it was just one that I know, yes.
And in the area.
Yeah, okay,
But there was a few around,
gotcha.
not very many.
No.
And then one thing that I just wanted to let you know that there is a group through the Leader in Me that they've asked me to serve on a national committee. And so there's 10 of us. And then on Thursday, I'm actually recording a podcast and I've written a article and then have a podcast that's going to be produced. And this educational group is talking about leadership, and so get to talk about, highlight our district and the great things that have been happening in our results. So just wanted to, again, let you know that the school district is getting recognized for the great things that we're doing here. And I did want to reemphasize again that, because I know you get banged about it, about what we're paying for this, but the cost went down $4,500 this year. And I think that we've got a program that is showing results and continue to will control, and show results. So anyway, just FYI.
Is that a paid for position?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Is that a
Paid for by Warren.
I wish it was.
Paid for by Mike.
Yeah, by my height, I believe, Jerome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Anything else?
no, sir.
Okay. Callie, you have anything?
No, I'm thinking.
No?
Just thanks to the staff and for all their hard work, and on Jan's report for Jaren, for everything he did on that, to get the camera going. I know that was a lot of hard work. He's not here, but and Jaren and I had conversations about this. It was, I don't think you can, for him, Jan spelled it out, but the legwork he had to do, when it went from 35, he was telling me, to 25 to it's costing us nothing. And what, with the subscription, yeah, you're gonna have a subscription, but the access our district has now, and the benefit the whole league got because of his legwork was very much appreciated.
And the rest of the Mideast League is still waiting to get on the calendar to have them installed, and ours will be in this week probably. And it's not just, it is Jaren,
And
Yeah.
but it's Josh too, and I wanna make sure.
yeah,
I'll tell you what, people thank me, and I'm just like, you guys have no idea. Like, I don't take credit for it all, except for saying, yeah, let's do it, let's do it.
I'll thank Josh.
So yeah,
Thank
both
you.
of them, and thanks for recognizing that, because I just hope that people realize, and Jaren was even ready to try to get it paid for everybody, and so that patrons could watch it for free, but that didn't pan out, not because he didn't try, so, anyway, it's pretty neat deal. It definitely is an example of being the best.
One question I had was the land by the fairgrounds. Did we ever settle on that? Did that get done?
No.
Okay.
We've
Is it
been in
gonna get done?
contact with, is it, Eberhard or?
Everwine.
Eberwine,
Yeah.
James?
I think we need to reach out to maybe Chad Griner.
Okay,
Okay. I think that needs to happen sooner than later, because I believe that they are under the assumption that it has been done. I didn't think it was done,
it had-
and they're wanting to move some dirt and do some things, so if you could reach out to Chad Griner, maybe
Yep.
that would work on that.
Thank you so much, because, yeah, we've been in contact for a long time, and
They have some, I believe, maybe CARES money that has to be spent immediately, and they're building a building, and
oh,
they need to, if we could put a little bit of priority on that, I think they
Yep.
would appreciate that. So,
I will.
Because we,
Not that it's been held up on our end, it's definitely been on their end, I knew that.
last
but-
we seen was an appraisal,
We
right?
can reach out
I'm
now.
sorry.
Last we seen was an appraisal, right?
We had, we'd gotten, given them out on a lease and had the lease set before them.
Yeah.
And,
So, okay.
I will do that.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of people that will have access, we often think that it would be nice for us parents that maybe travel to watch these sports. We often overlook the elderly portion of our communities that are gonna have the opportunity to watch these sports that do not want to be exposed in today's environment, nor do some of them have the ability to even get out. I think that it would be nice of us to maybe send a letter to the mayor. And there's one in, is there one in Maple Hill? Maybe not. But I just thought maybe it'd be nice to send that, one of these to go in the paper so that they see it. I know I've seen it in other publications, as far as, digital, but put that in the paper. Maybe the Charger could do a little program on it, put it in the paper too. But send some letters out like that, because I know there's a lot of people there that would probably watch our kids. And as we have a bond coming up, it would be nice to let them see some of our current facilities via that and watch how good our kids are in other events. If there's nothing else, then I would entertain a meeting to adjourn.
Motion, no adjourn.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. No, I think she was still on there, but If she unmutes it, it runs.